What's up, guys? So right now I just got a bunch of parts in from Newbeedrone. I'm about to do not my first build, but the first build in some time. I'll show you what the parts I have right now. If you guys don't already know who I am, I'm Aviation FPV. I do a bunch of drone videos on YouTube. Check me out on Instagram, TikTok, I do all that kind of stuff. But today we're gonna be doing a build. So if you wanna stick around for that, I'd appreciate if you dropped a like, subscribe, and turn on that bell notification because we got all this good stuff. You'll see some good flight footage with this soon. So this is our VTX. Whew, look at that thing. That looks pretty good. Got a nice heat sink on top. I think this thing goes up to 1 watt. So we'll see if that one holds its ground. Put that aside. Okay, let's go on to the next here. We got the Newbeedrone Infinity board. This is gorgeous. This thing is not cheap, but take a look at that. Whew. Everything in one. Flight controller, ESC. They even give me a little cover for the USB port there. All right. Nice metal construction. Got that gold on the side. That's gonna look sick sticking out the frame, so we'll see. All right. You guys already know what this is like, but let's just pop it up. Just a standard Express LRS receiver. One thing I like about Radio Master is that they ship with a couple different sized antennas. See, I popped this open as well here. Here it is. This thing is tiny, guys. Smaller than my finger. But we got that antenna that reaches out, 2 different sizes. We'll see which one we need later on depending on what this frame looks like. You guys seen these files before. I'm not going to open it just now, but we'll put it aside for now and we'll take a look at that later. Next up, we got the Foxeer T-Rex. Open up. Then, of course, got the camera itself. That's pretty. I always like opening a new camera. Next up, let's take a look at these motors. Let's pop this open. I love this packaging. Newbeedrone's killing it with the packaging. Look at that. Let's check out one of these motors and see what it looks like. I will pop open the seal. Open that up. Let's see, how do these babies look? Look at these motors, guys. I'm gonna open them all up and then we'll take a look. Got a little packet in here with their screws, a little nut at the top. All right, this is what we've been waiting for. I want to see what this frame looks like. Woo! Got lots of stuff in here. Oh, we got some 3D prints as well. Looks like I only need the GoPro mount from Soro, but Soro FPV is printing me out some stuff. We got a nice little sticky pad right over here. So we got those Newbeedrone straps. Got a little baby zip ties. These are the smallest zip ties I've ever seen. Let's get this carbon out of here then. Get that top plate out of there. These look like some thick boy arms. I don't think you'll be breaking these anytime soon. Let's take a look. I have a bunch of issues breaking arms with my previous freestyle drone frames. Yeah, this looks great. Super thick carbon. It's super thick. I don't think this will break. This looks like the base plate and lower plate. Got the plates right over here. I don't know how thin this is, but it should hold up and you stack them on top of one another. And finally, it looks like we have our side plates for the camera. Take that out of here. We'll pop it out. Let's take a look. All right. Let's assemble this frame, shall we? All right, guys. We got all the pieces laid out here. You're going to grab one of your cone washers. You're going to grab one of your longer screws. This should be the 12 millimeter M3 screw. Basically, I'm gonna put that in. I believe this kind of just goes like this, and then you're gonna grab your other bottom plate and you're gonna stick everything in, line up the holes, and so you're kind of just gonna go in through like this, get it in through all 3, and then you're gonna pop it finally through there. And I think you can just give it a little bit of a tighten up. It's gonna look like that, and you can probably go ahead and line up the rest. All right, So those shouldn't budge around, and I haven't even tightened them down yet. This feels amazing. So you have a middle hole here. I'm gonna grab one of these bad boys here, and you're gonna be able to go right down into the middle, just like that. Grab your driver and start screwing that in. And once this is in, we can go back and tighten everything up to make sure it's all snug. So we'll make sure all these arms are nicely in place, and let's go back and give it one nice little tighten here. Looks pretty good. This frame is feeling rigid, guys. It is feeling really nice. So now that we got that all up and ready, we can go on to the next part, which I would say is probably mounting the motors on top of this thing. So for our motors, we're gonna open up this TPU pack here, and they thankfully give us some of these little skids. So these 3D printed skids, you can start popping them on one of your arms at a time. They fit nice and snug. You can kind of see that it's not really going anywhere. There's no play. This will come inside your frame kit, so you don't really have to worry about printing those on your own if you don't have a printer. When you open one of these, just so you don't lose that nut, I recommend just tossing it on top of that motor right away. Screw that on just with your hand, not too tight, just so it doesn't go anywhere. So we're gonna get these motors on. We'll grab 4 of these, and they give you plenty of them. So what I do is like to preset 2 of them and then get that motor nice and lined up. And again, just like the frame, you're not gonna go too tight. You're just gonna get it just enough until you feel it lock it into place. All right, so that motor's in. Let's put the other 2 into here, and then we'll tighten everything back up, okay? So we'll go this one. Now let's go back and tighten everything down. Okay, boom. So that's one. We got it in there looking fresh. Now I'm gonna go ahead and do the other 3, and I will check with you guys in just a second here. All right, so now we got all 4 of these motors on, and it's looking good. This next part here, which is going to be installing our flight controller. This is a 30 by 30, so you're gonna see that you have quite a few little holes on the bottom here. You wanna go on the outside ones, and that's gonna let you put the larger flight controller. We pop this out. Let's find some of these nuts here, and we'll grab some of them and get them into place. So it's gonna go into that far side one there, and then you're basically gonna screw your nut in on one end until we have it just about flush. There you go. So we got that into place, and let's do that with the other 4 as well. So now that these are all in, we can move on to the next part. All right, and now that we have everything in place, all the standoffs up, we can install our all-in-one Newbeedrone Infinity board. Now the one thing is, their USB port is on the top, on the opposite basically of where the XT60 is. So what we want to do is actually put it in sideways, and this is going to allow you to have your XT60 running out the side. So we're going to sneak that in over top just like that, and it's going to go as such. Everything is off, good to go. This can go toss in the garbage. All right, let's clean up this space a little bit, and then we will be ready to start wiring up our motors. All right, now that I got everything ready, we can take the soldering iron and we can heat it up. Now what we're gonna do while that's heating up is I'm gonna grab some flux. It's kind of the cheat code, not gonna lie. Until now they're nice and wet. Let's tin these pads up. So I'm not pro at soldering, but those look not too bad to me. If you guys want to peek at those bad boys there. This looks pretty good. Let's flip it around, do the other side. All right, those are nice and tinned up. One thing that Newbeedrone does supply you with are some wire protectors, so if I can find where those are. All right, get them in and you pull them through. All right, so one thing you guys want to make sure is that you're lining them up where the red side is facing down to the carbon, because you don't want to have it upside down and not be able to stick. So make sure that you do have it in the right position. It'll make it a lot easier for you. Now that you have all those in down, we're not going to tape them down just yet. We just want to basically see where it would line up. I always cut with a little bit more than I need, just because I don't want to worry about accidentally cutting it too short and having to extend the wire, because that's more of a hassle. So we'll go about there, and we will cut about there at a slight angle. perfect. So now I'm gonna pull that sticky off the bottom and get it stuck into place. Again, you guys don't have to follow exactly the same way that I'm doing it, but it's just kind of the way I'm doing it right now. And then we will stick it down there. Good. So I use my finger usually, just a fingernail, just to pull off the edge of these. I find that that works fine and just enough. Nice. And what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to twist it. All right, now we're gonna tin those up. Good. So now we're gonna grab some tweezers and then we're gonna get these into place, and then we'll do the last three. And we'll grab this one and we'll kind of get it into place. Some people might say these wires are too tight, but I like it. It's not the prettiest job, but it's the job. And the finale. Now that's in place. Kind of push these to get it nice and snug like that. And now we have the first three. Let's do the rest, and I will check back with you guys in a second here. All right, so now that we have all of the solder pads soldered up with our motor wires on there, what we're going to do is we're going to now put on that XT60. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of measure that out a bit. Thumb in place, and I'll grab this guy. Boom and boom. So we got that all set up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to twist this up. Okay, so let's tin that up really quickly. Okay, so that's done. Let's get our solder pads on the ESC nice and tinned as well. Booyah. Looks like those are all up and ready to go. Let's get our, where'd our XT60 go? Boom. And then let's get it all up and ready. Stays in place. It's not too bad. Honestly, that looks pretty good to me. So when we add this capacitor on, we gotta make sure you know that it's this stripe is the negative side and the non-stripe side is positive. So we want to make sure it just goes this way. What you can even do is through your motor wires, you can take it and you can pinch it and you can kind of pull some off for yourself. And then kind of using your nail, you just slowly pull it off. The wire's gonna look all funky, but you don't need that stuff. You can just use this. Here we're going to pull it in like that. And then you're gonna kind of pull off the part that you don't need. That looks like it's in the right spot now. We can line this up and kind of figure out where it's gonna go. So move it a little bit lower. Okay, we'll cut it just to length the same way on each side. We can solder these into place. What I like to do is have some isopropyl alcohol and a little toothbrush, spray it on there, and then we can get everything cleaned up so we don't have to worry about those joints getting all dirty. And then over top of everything, I want to get all that flux out. And now Newbeedrone recommends that you use heat shrink to kind of hold this all together. I don't have any heat shrink that's big enough, so what I'll probably use is some cloth tape right over here. You can use electrical tape as well. I'm just kind of curious to see what this cloth tape looks like. That should be pretty snug. I am happy with that. We're going to keep this flight controller nice and down, so we're going to grab the nuts that we have on top and we're going to start screwing down that flight controller. So I'll grab the rest of them here. Alright, I'm going to put on the last one and we'll continue. Alright, next guys, we're going to have to try to figure out how to do all this next part, because this all-in-one is really built for digital. So I'm going to try to figure out how to make this work well with the analog stuff. So what I will do first is figure out how I'm going to mount this VTX onto here. Yeah, no, I think it's really meant to be mounted up top onto here. So it's going to go back here for sure, but it kind of overlaps a little bit, which I don't mind too much. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have to double-sided tape that down. So let's just do that right now. 3M mounting tape. And let's see how that fits. So now let's kind of find where this would be good to go. Probably right over here. And again, it does overlap just a smidge, but I don't mind. We'll get our VTX cable plugged in. And maybe I should have done this first, but you know, DIY, like I said, guys. So that's into place. We got the wires all up like that. I got the VTX in. What we want right now is this. But this is basically what's going to allow me to connect up to my VTX and my board and all that good stuff. So we will start by plugging this in. If you guys can kind of see that port down at the bottom, we're going to get this plugged in there. This is going to kind of come over top like that, along that side. And this is eventually going to go, let's untwist this and kind of reveal what we got going here. So I'm only really going to be needing half of these wires because I'm only going to be using like the VTX and the camera. We won't be needing these cables, so let's just tuck them aside for now. So it looks like we have a ground 5-volt camera, and then we have another ground, and then we have a 5-volt, and then we have a VTX, and then eventually I'm going to need a smart audio, but we'll see. No, it will go UR3. Okay, then we're definitely going to also need the second wire here, so the white. This one here, and the rest of these can go away for now. And this ground and 5-volt will go the ground 5-volt cam. This is going to be for your camera. So let's get that sorted out. Maybe while we have these separated, I am going to get our camera mounted in. We will get these into place by using this bad boy over here. And what we're going to do is we're going to put our standoffs in there, and it's going to kind of allow us to lock everything in. Standoff bag. You're going to grab your longer standoffs for this one here. And you're going to slide them down this little TPU pipe here, just like that. Then grab your other one, and then you're going to kind of push it into your frame, just like that. And your holes are going to line up. We're going to grab some of our screws, dump them out here, and we will get them into place. And here's where our 2mm driver will come into handy again. Now that's in place. We can grab our camera plates, and we're gonna kind of line them up so they fit into the slots that we have here, just like that on each side. And once those sink into place, we can kind of pop these TPU pieces into place in our carbon there. Boom, just like that. And now we're gonna take our camera out and see how she fits into place there. Might need a little bit of spacers into there just to get it to not rattle around, so I'm gonna grab one of these things. It looks like this. It's gonna kind of go around the camera, and then we will put it into place. This camera kit should have some screws in here for you. Grab the longer ones here. And then once we get this camera into place, let's grab that, line that up into the hole on the side. And I'm going by the one that's non-U shape. We're gonna grab our 1mm driver, and we're gonna kind of loosen this up a bit, just so we can get this camera into the spot we want it in. Like that's the right spot. Can't screw anymore. Okay, it looks like it's a good point. Let's grab one of these on this side now and try this side. So now we got that camera plate all mounted up in there. We can try to figure out this wiring now for the camera. And really all we need is the ground 5-volt and cam wire. So I'm gonna take out all the other ones here. I think that purple wire being out is really all we need to take out, because the other rest can just kind of sit there and be for our cam control or whatever in case we need it down the line. Push that back down into place and then plug it into our camera. Perfect. So now we have to figure out how to get these 3 wires here all connected up to our camera. So that's basically gonna move and go like, oop. See, don't want to grab the wrong one. That would be a mistake. And basically we want to get these connected up like this. You got to connect these two together somehow. So let's figure out how to do that. I think if I cut these wires, I could get it going pretty well. So what we're gonna do is we are going to have these wires all stitched together eventually, the way that they are, just like that. So I'm gonna cut this camera wire shorter, and I'm gonna cut this wire over here a bit shorter, and then we're gonna get them to go together. I'm gonna unplug that camera wire, and I'm gonna twist it up. Cool. Looks good. And now for these wires here, we'll cut them about there. And I have to be pretty careful with these because I don't want to accidentally just ripped the wire out. So see, there's a way to be able to just pull off this sheathing. Guys, I have no idea how I'm gonna do this. All right, I'm gonna cut to a second here. We'll take a look at what we can do. All right, guys, so I have my wires all stripped, and I'm gonna have to figure out how to kind of tin these all together. I'm going to grab a piece of heat shrink, and I'm going to cut little sections off here into thirds. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to put the heat shrink on top of these little wires. So maybe we'll start with the power wire. We're gonna tin both of them. Good, that's nice and coated now. Pull that wire aside. We don't need that white wire right now. That's gonna be our cam wire, so we have to remember that. Let the solder join them together and then kind of just press them together. Eventually just sneak over top of that, and that would be a joined camera wire. And I will, after they're finished, I'll kind of show you guys what that product looks like. All right, I got all 3 of them done. That was not the easiest thing ever. I'm gonna get my heat gun out, and then I'm going to kind of shrink them down. So let's see how that goes. So now that that's done, I am going to just unplug this camera one more time. Unplug it and kind of twist the wires so there's no slack. Get that camera into place now. Okay, so that's the camera done. Doesn't look the cleanest, but hey, it works. Now let's worry about this VTX. So it's gonna be ground, power, video, and then the smart audio is gonna go in through here. So put the smart audio aside just so I don't mix it up. So all these other wires, let's see what we can do with them, because I don't really need all of this. So some of these I definitely do not need. I don't need it, so I can probably cut it. So cut that stuff, twist it, to push it back in. All right, so now this is what we need to worry about. We're gonna do the same thing with the VTX wires, except for the ground and 5V. The ground and 5V, that's what I'm gonna deal separately. So we will take the video and the smart audio, which is our 2 extra wires here. So we can get rid of this power now. So let's go, video is gonna go to the yellow wire. So I'm gonna get that wiring sorted out, and then I'll show you guys afterwards, all right? All right, so I have now all of the wires tinned up together. The VTX is going into the flight controller now through these tiny little wires. The camera is all set up. Also, the last thing to put on is going to be the receiver, and that's what I kind of have going on over here. So I will cut that up and get the receiver all set up. So let's do that right now. Thinking we definitely need to mount this antenna first. So let's see if we can get this antenna in here. I want to do the longer one because that's gonna kind of stretch through the frame. I want to put the receiver kind of either on top of the flight controller or something like that. So let's do that. We'll see if that holds its place. It's really built for an Immortal T for crossfire, but I think that this will do. They have our little zip ties for us over here, so let's grab that. But if we pull that up nice and tight, and let's do the other side now. So if you're using Express LRS, these zip ties are fine. You just do need that hot glue. So let me just cut these zip ties really quickly here. And then we're gonna have the receiver kind of sitting probably on top of the flight controller there, kind of with all of this wiring mess here. We have our receiver. Let's unplug this other one off of our receiver. Oh, we should also, just before I forget anything, plug in our VTX antenna over here, just so we don't forget. I don't have an antenna ready just yet, so. And then let's get this receiver dealt with, so we'll grab a helping hand. I am going to pre-cut and tin these other wires here. If I unplug this for just a moment, we won't be needing these first 2 here. So I will take that out. So let's apply that up. So let's now sneak that back into place. We're gonna pull these off. So now we're just gonna flip it upside down so I can see what kind of labels we have on the bottom here. And then we're gonna go in and tin all of these little wires as well. Let's wire this receiver up. Start with the easy ones. You got ground and power. No problem, which is our 5 volt. TX is white. So the light one is gonna go to RX. And this one will go right here. Beautiful. Let's get our hot gluing doing. And then push that in. That'll hold its place pretty well. That looks good to me. So now, let's take a look at these joints. Now we can kind of twist the receiver wires together. Now we're gonna grab our heat shrink and our plug. So let's get the UFL and plug it into place. So slip our heat shrink over top. And then we are going to plug in our UFL. So here, kind of click into place. There you go. I goofed it because it's not even doing the protection it should be. I will grab the sticky tape that we need. Kind of pop it under. I want it to go kind of in the middle, so you don't have too much tension on that, but we also don't have too much tension on our cables. We should just be about done. That is pretty much a built drone. Only last things we need to do now is get our VTX fastened, our VTX antenna out. I am going to grab this and slide it in through here. This is TBS Triumph Pro, so I got that fastened into there. Screw it down nice and tight, nice and tight. We can grab our standoffs. So we'll grab a couple of short guys, pop them in, good. Grab a couple of these screws, and then let's kind of fasten them into place. Let's start with one side. That's where our 2mm drivers and come back into handy again. And then the other side, just like this. I am going to fasten this antenna down using a piece of zip tie that they supply with us. Oh, that doesn't work. Let's use a bigger zip tie. I'm going to put a piece of heat shrink on that. That's good. Now, the rest of our standoffs can kind of go into place where we need them. So we'll grab some of these, pop one of these through, screw that into place. All right, that's one in. Okay guys, we're almost there. Got that all nice and tight. From this point on, my friends, we can insert that top plate. So we're gonna start by making these camera plates kind of slide in. Looking good. And these top screws. All right, that is a built quad. Why don't we throw some props on this to see what it kind of looks all together. And this is basically for that GoPro mount. So what would happen is we would take these and I would get it in through there like that. And we would slip them into the sides of these. I really like this mounting idea for the GoPro because it keeps it super low profile, but it also secures that side and top plate a little bit better so you don't have to worry about breaking it on an impact. It's really unique. Clever idea here, Newbeedrone. Now that is a complete build. Got the weigh in, 0 grams. Let's take a look at the full build. That is pretty lightweight, 365. That's without a GoPro, without a battery. Let's throw some battery straps on top of there. So 379 with the battery straps. It's pretty good. So after a long time, I am finally finished building this Newbeedrone Inertia frame. This is going to be super for freestyle. This video is not going to be the flight footage, it's just the build. If you guys enjoyed that, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe. There's going to be a part 2 where I'm going to be testing this for flight performance. I'm going to get some 6S batteries in. It's going to be my first time flying 6S. So you guys are going to see how much power I'm gonna get out of this, and then also how much fun I'm gonna have. I'll do a couple of crash tests naturally just because I crash, but so you're gonna get a real freestyle pilot's take on this Inertia frame. Thank you Newbeedrone for sending this out to me. If you guys want to pick this up, you can check out the description down below. It's all going to be affiliate links on where to pick up every part that I used for this drone. So head down there, pick it up. I'll make a small commission out of it. It doesn't cost you anything. Then you can come back once you get all your parts and build it along with me. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Without further ado, I will see you on the next one. Peace.